Welcome to the Even Better podcast, where your host, Sinikka Waugh of Your Clear Next Step, brings you exciting content about making communities better by helping people get even better at work.
Today's episode is brought to you by Your Clear Next Step in the Changemaker Certification Program.
Would you like to save time by solving the right problem sooner with a realistic and measurable plan? Reduce overwhelm by finding more sustainably productive ways to work? Improve employee morale by creating more positive workdays from within? Stay competitive by tightening your turn or increasing your agility in adapting to changing customer demands? If you said yes to those things, then we have the solution for you.
Interested in becoming a changemaker? Give us a call at 515-442-0545.
Hello, friends, and welcome to another edition of the Even Better podcast. I am so delighted that you decided to spend a few minutes listening to this and hopefully picking up a tip or two, and if not, just enjoying a little bit of time together. You know, we're talking about the idea of excellence today, and that's a fun topic. This is a continuation of back at episode 100. That seems already like a few episodes ago. And when we reached it, it was unbelievable to me that we had reached 100 episodes at the Even Better podcast. But this is our mission, part of our mission anyway, to help you have even better workdays so that together we can co-create better communities. My name is Sinikka Waugh, and I'm just so delighted that you're here with us as part of the Your Clear Next Step mission. And when I recorded that episode 100, we were talking about 10 things that I'd learned in the years of running Your Clear Next Step. And one of the concepts there, one of the ideas was that they remember our excellence. And I remember thinking about this at the time and thinking about the learnings that had come in and around this. And I do recall, and I know I've spoken about this before, that people don't think of us as much as we think they do, right? And it's not that they don't think as much of us as we think they do. It's not that they devalue us. It's not that they think less of us. It's that they think of us less, right? People don't spend as much time thinking of us as we imagine they do. So as we imagine, especially as a teenage girl, I remember spending way too much time imagining what other people were going to think of me or might have thought of me or might have remembered about me from a particular moment. And they just don't, right? We leave their minds often the moment that we've left their presence. Except, that's not universally true. When the moment is sort of neutral and meh and doesn't make an impact one way or another, it's not particularly great, it's not particularly bad, it's just an average interaction. I think on balance, that's true. But I believe that when we stand out in one way or another, whether we stand out as particularly hurtful or unkind or exceptionally bad, or when our customer service is lousy, or when we fail to make it right when we've made a mistake, I think they remember that. They may not remember the mistake, but if we make a mistake and then we don't make it right, I think they remember that. But on the flip side, and on the much brighter side, which is where I want to dwell today, they remember our excellence. They remember when we go above and beyond. They remember the exceptionally firm handshake. You're not the one that breaks your hand, but the one that is confident and firm and says, I'm here and I'm present. They remember the eye contact that says, I see you and I'm here in this moment with you. They remember the person that remembers their dog's name, or that recalled the last time we were together a quarter ago, they were about to leave on a vacation, and we remembered that, or perhaps even their destination. They remember our excellence. They remember when we brought the high quality paper to our training. They remember that we went above and beyond. They do remember our excellence, because excellence doesn't seem to be the status quo anymore. Excellence is not the norm. Excellence stands out. And maybe even by its definition, excellence excels beyond, stands out, exceeds expectations, and does something really, really exceptional. somewhere along the line in my career, I had a leader who did not give exceptionally high performance reviews. She dug in really hard, and the only way you got the highest ranking on the performance review is if you were exceptional. You had to go above and beyond. You had to be wildly different than your peers. You had to stand out in an exceptional way to get that highest rating. You had to be excellent. I think they remember our excellence. In 2024, at Your Clear Next Step, organizational wide, we had a discussion about whether or not we should add the concept of excellence into our core values. And we spent some time really wrestling with this. Right now, in our core values, we have the one that's been there from the very beginning. We are intentionally, reliably useful. We have that we are positive people. We have that we balance humility alongside confidence. And we have that we approach problems with creativity and the art of the possible. And we had a pretty intense and fairly lengthy discussion over the period of weeks, maybe even a couple of months in the organization, about whether or not we should add a separate core value for excellence, or whether we should add excellence as a part of the narrative to one or more of those core values that exist at Your Clear Next Step. And as we made it through the discussion, the general consensus was that we didn't need to add it because excellence was baked into our organizational fiber. In the organization, people recognize that excellence is baked into my DNA. It's baked into my philosophies and policies and procedures and my leadership habits. It's what I stand for. It's what people recognize about what I prioritize and what I favor and what I do and what our customers love about us. And when you read through the feedback, when people comment about what they love most about who we are and how we show up, that idea of excellence, whether they use that specific word or some variation that means something similar, it kept showing up over and over and over again from our history, from the very, very early days when we first started collecting feedback. And what's so interesting to me is that it is and has historically been baked into our philosophies and our policies and our procedures and our habits until it wasn't. We'd lost our way, I'm ashamed to admit, because in a season in there, we stopped measuring. You see, we have customer service feedbacks. We have feedback forms. We have a survey that we ask after every training and after every coaching engagement. We ask for feedback. We ask our customers, how did we do? And we have a scale that we ask them to rank. Were we excellent or were we not? And we gather that data and we collect that data and we measure ourselves and we talk about it and we unpack it and we do a debrief and a continuous improvement exercise every time, except when we stopped. And for a brief season in there, and I say brief in the long history of Your Clear Next Step, because in our 17 years, it wasn't even a large percent of those 17 years, but it was large enough. It was large enough to be painful. We stopped collecting. We stopped collecting because it was hard, right? COVID made things hard. When we're training in a room together, it's really easy to pass out forms and get people who are a captive audience to fill out their forms. And when people are online, it's harder to get them to fill out the online forms. You can't stand over them. And it's harder to go back later and ask them for their feedback and get them to fill out an online survey. It's harder. Sure, it's hard. And when the database broke, when the database where we were collecting these thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of rows of data, when that database broke, it was hard to rebuild it. And when we rebuilt it partway, we were almost ready to launch it, and the person who was doing that left the organization. It was hard. And hard is not an excuse. Hard is just a reason to dig in and be excellent, be even more excellent. And we weren't. And we stopped for a brief moment. And for a brief moment, we were not measuring our excellence, which means we couldn't prove it. We thought we were excellent. We thought of ourselves as an excellent team. And you could still look back at historical data and say they used to say we were excellent. And we still had some anecdotal examples of people who would say we were excellent, but we couldn't prove it anymore. And my friends, if you can't prove it, you don't know that you are. You can't say you're a winning football team and then not have wins to prove it. If you go out and lose on the field, you're not a winning football team. If you can't prove it, it's not happening. And so what had happened is we'd allowed for a lack of excellence. We'd allowed habits and processes that didn't self-impose excellence. We got ourselves busy enough that we let excellence go, myself included. And somewhere in there, excellence wasn't a habit anymore. It wasn't an expectation. It wasn't part of our collective DNA for a brief moment. And we didn't look like ourselves anymore. And this is why I say that excellence does matter and they remember our excellence. And the people who are still on our mailing list, the people who still read our newsletters and come back to us, they remember our excellence. And the ones who don't, they may have met us in that brief time where we couldn't prove we were excellent. And it breaks my heart, honestly. And we learned from it and we fixed it and we're getting better again. So why does excellence matter? And what does it have to do with organizational success? Well, I think there are three really critical things that return business value in a profound and measurable way. I think this hits our organizational success. It's not just about, hey, Sinikka thinks we should be excellent and she's got these great ideas. I mean, maybe I do, and maybe I have good ideas, but I think profoundly and in a data-driven way, we can look at three specific ways that excellence matters. So here's the first one. If you're working in any kind of organization, whether that organization is for-profit or not-for-profit, whether you're volunteering in an organization, whether you're trying to get a group thing off the ground, whether you're trying to get, whatever it happens to be. So if you're in an organizational context and you are serving customers, excellence matters because customers notice. Your customers will notice your excellence. And it's how we delight our customers, right? We delight our customers through doing what we say we would do. And we know that. We do what you say you will do. But excellence comes not just from doing what we say we will do, but from when a mistake gets made, when we raise our arm, when we accept accountability for a mistake, we fix it, we apologize, we restore, we make restitution for whatever mistake it was, and then we move on. We take that excellence and we say, I'm sorry, I fixed it. Let's move on together. That's the excellence. That's the oomph that invites resilience, and it invites us to commit to the future together. That's excellence. That's digging deep. And our customers notice, and they move forward with us. Without it, we run the risk of losing that customer. So customer retention, happier customers stay longer and they buy more and they tell their friends who also buy more. We also notice that excellence in the idea behind the little things. It's easy to picture the little things of a smile, right? You can imagine in a retail experience, if you walk into a store, many of us have been into a retail experience where you walk in and someone greets us and they greet us with a smile. They might say good morning or hello or welcome to whatever store we're in, right? And some of us feel different ways about that. Maybe you wanted to not be interacted with at that particular moment. But if someone greets you and they greet you with a smile, that might give you a welcoming experience. On the flip side, right? If they greet you with they look at you and they go, oh, you again, that's not going to give you a great experience. But if they greet you with a level of excellence that recognizes you or makes you feel welcome in a way that is personalized or a way that is attentive or a way that senses whether or not you want to be welcomed or how much attention or how much focus you want on you, and gives you this personalized, focused, welcoming attention right there that is excellent, smiles, makes eye contact, gives you the right amount of space for you, that's excellent. And they do the little things that make a difference. That's excellent. And people remember that. They may not remember the words that you said, but they will remember how you made them feel. And that's excellent. Those customers, they notice, and when they are delighted, they stay longer, they buy more, and they tell their friends who come to wherever you are, whatever product or service you're selling. Those customers, they buy more and they tell their friends, who also then become happy customers. That's going to impact revenue. So a second impact of excellence is going to be in the team members. So team members are going to notice. So the employees or the team members, volunteers, whoever is part of your team that's working together, when excellence matters and we're working together under excellence, in this case, it's the lack of excellence that gets noticed and creates a faster and more powerful impact in quite the opposite way. Tolerating poor performers is a very, very quick way to get the good ones to leave. So let's say within a team, you have a good performer. You have someone who is engaged and someone who is committed and someone who is happy and someone who is thrilled to be there. Someone who is doing excellent things. They're doing excellent work. They are delighted to be there. They're performing well and they want to be there. And from time to time, they do exceptionally excellent things. And somewhere else on that same team, you have someone else who is doing meh work. They are sliding by. They are barely putting in the bare minimum. They are doing haphazard work. They are half-heartedly showing up. They show up late. They show up, they leave early. They say they'll do something and they don't do it. They make work difficult for others. They ask questions that they perhaps could have along the line figured out much sooner than asking the question themselves. And instead of learning, instead of trying, instead of growing, instead of smiling, instead of contributing to the joy around them, they make things harder. When you look at this and over time, as this perpetuates, those individuals become a drag. Now, occasionally, not a big deal, right? But when it becomes a perpetual habit, and those people wind up dragging on the other high performers in the organization, the high performers look and go, you're going to tolerate that? You're going to tolerate this individual who's not showing up, this individual who's not prioritizing our work, this individual who's making me do their work instead of them, this individual who's checking out every other day. The high performers will leave. Team members notice. They see tolerating poor performers is a quick way to get the good ones to leave. And when we talk about the cost to an organization, tribal knowledge, the history, the things that we know, we want to retain. It is far, far, far more efficient to retain knowledge in an organization than it is to go find new. So better to engage the poor performer, to bring them up into a higher performing standard, to find a way to ignite their fire. If they're not living core values, how do we either get them out of the organization? Because if they're not a core value aligned, then we don't want them there. If they are living values, how do we grow them? How do we train them? How do we coach them? How do we bring them up? But if they're a poor performer, how discouraging. Do we need to give them the tools, the education, the skills, the motivation to help them be able to be a higher performer so that they can be excellent alongside their peers? If they continue to be a poor performer alongside their excellent peers, the excellent peers will be discouraged. The third example, the third way that excellence matters is the bottom line itself. The bottom line itself. So regardless of what we're measuring, And I think we ought to be measuring things that lead to our excellence. But regardless of what we're measuring, at some point in our organizations, we've got to be measuring bottom line performance. So top line performance, what's the revenue and what are the sales coming into your organization? And then what are the expenses coming out? What are the costs of running that organization? Then bottom line, what's left over, right? What's the bottom line? What's the operating income for our organization? What do we have left after our expenses come out? So the bottom line of the organization is where we see what happens when mediocrity is tolerated at any level. If we have mediocrity and lack of excellence in the pursuit of new ideas and innovation and vision casting at the very, very top, we're not going to grow as an organization. We're not going to have a cool vision. We're not going to move towards the future. We're going to stay stagnant. And that's going to be reflected in our bottom line. If we have mediocrity and lack of excellence in our sales and in our pursuit of new opportunities and our pursuit of revenue, we are going to not draw in new customers. We're going to not draw in growth. We're going to not see growth at the top line. And that's going to impact the bottom line because our expenses are going to continue to rise and they're going to eventually rise above our income. That's going to impact the bottom line and we're not going to be able to afford that. If we have in operations, if we have and mediocrity and lack of excellence in our operational expenses and in our operations, so we're not doing things as efficiently as we could. We're not innovating in how we can do things in cool and efficient ways. We're dragging our feet. We're ho-humming our days. We're inefficient. We're lackluster. We're barely getting by in our day-to-day. We're not engaged. That means things take longer than they should. That means we're not collaborating and two of us might be doing the same work. We're wasting time. We're wasting money. That's going to drive up our operating costs. That retention idea, when people leave, that drives up our operating costs. Our operating costs will go up, eventually exceeding our income. Our bottom line suffers. Costs rise. So your bottom line reflects lack of excellence. When we allow mediocrity anywhere in the organization, we see it at the bottom line. Excellence. Excellence matters. They remember our excellence. Our customers remember our excellence. Our teammates remember our excellence. The people who are watching the bottom line remember our excellence. So invite us, what do we do about this? If we know it impacts our organization and our organizational success, whether we're for-profit or not for-profit, whether we're serving in our community, our churches, our businesses, wherever we happen to be, if excellence matters, what do we do about it? How do we do this? Because, okay, let's be frank. I don't know about you, but I'm tired. We're moving into second quarter 2025. It has been a long run. I'm tired. I can't possibly be excellent all the time. Can you? I mean, let's get real. Sinikka, this sounds great. You want excellence, 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 excellence all the time. I'm tired. I want a nap. I want a nap. Oh. Brief pause while we take a nap. I mean, let's just get real. I want a nap too. I do. Don't pretend that we don't. So this is where resilience matters. And this is where good relationships at work matter. And this is where kindness and compassion and authenticity matter. I had this really powerful and amazing conversation with a colleague of mine today. And we were talking about the truth that this has not been the easiest 18 months of my life. And I can't tell you that I haven't cried at work in the last 6 months or the last 6 days. But I can tell you that I love the work that I do. I can tell you that I love the people that I work with and the people that I serve. And I can tell you that the mission to help people have better work days so that together we can co-create better communities, I can tell you that that mission aligns so deeply with who I believe I was created to be, that it is satisfying. And even if there are hard days, And even if some days I want an extra nap, and even if every day I can't be excellent, that we can set up structures for excellence. We can set up procedures that self-impose excellence. We can set up measurements that allow us. We are an EOS shop, right? We operate on the entrepreneurial operating system. We have scorecards, we have measurements, we have feedback forums, we have processes. We check our processes. We do retrospectives after big events. We double check our excellence. We hold ourselves accountable. We operate in a space of psychological safety. We have built structures and processes that demand excellence because it is, in fact, not a core value. It's part of our fiber. And we build it into our policies and our structures and our procedures and our habits. And when excellence is one of your habits, then if you have a day where you need an extra nap, it's okay. If healthy living is one of your habits, then on Easter, when you eat a couple Cadbury eggs, it's okay. If you have good habits, then if for a moment you fall out of that habit, you have people around you, structures around you, muscle memory within you to get back into your good habits. And so that's what I invite us to do. I invite us to think about, what are the habits that build excellence for you? What are the habits that build excellence for you? Is it a daily habit of when you set your morning alarm? Is it a daily habit of how much water you drink? Is it a daily habit of a gratitude journal? Is it a business habit of journaling and reflection at the end of the day? What are the daily habits for you that build excellence? Is it a habit of checking in with your challenge network or your worthy rival? Is it a reading? Is it a daily habit or a weekly habit of reading? Is it a regular habit of date night with your spouse? Is it a regular habit of reading with your kids? Is it a regular habit of worship with your faith community? What are your habits that build excellence for you? Is it your pleases and thank yous like mom taught you when you were little? What are the habits that build excellence for you? Find those habits, jot them down, and build the structures and the policies and the procedures that make them baked into your DNA so that when someone thinks of you, they think excellence. I hope this was useful to you. I would love to hear your feedback. If there's something you want to visit further about, please reach out to me. This is part of an ongoing journey. My mission is to help you have even better work days. If you haven't heard about it, we're about to launch something really cool. We've got our new website. If you haven't been to it, our new website is coming out. It is imminent, the arrival of this new website. It's the refreshed website. We really, here at Your Clear Next Step, our mission is to help people have better work days so that together we can co-create better communities. And we serve in 3 primary disciplines. The first discipline that we serve in, and this podcast was about part of that. So the first discipline is on returning business value, right? Our businesses have to be successful. They have to succeed, or when we have a work day, it's a lousy work day because the people at the top are grumpy and everybody in the middle is grumpy, and it's a lousy work day. So our businesses have to be successful. Those are things like project management, business analysis, process improvement, facilitating good meetings, strategic planning. I just did an amazing strategic planning session just recently for a local library, and oh, what a joy to help them build their strategic plan for the next 3 years. Returning business value, that is one of our core disciplines. A second core discipline that we serve in is the reality that businesses don't run themselves. So returning business value is great, but businesses are run by people. People run business. So authentic human connection is the second one. This is all the things about emotional intelligence, leadership, influence with or without authority, resilience, communication, public speaking. If you find that the tension between people or conflict or even sometimes getting in your own way is holding you back from having a better workday, this discipline of what we do is where we'd love to be able to help you. And then the third discipline that we work in is change, and the recognition that change is a process, not an event. Too many people approach change and think it's just turning a switch. Oh, poof, I'll just live a healthier lifestyle. Poof, we'll just bring in that new CEO. Poof, we'll just move to a new building. Change is not a poof. It's a process, and it involves planning. It involves letting go of where we were and the uncertainty in between, and then eventually taking hold of where we're going before we're stable in that new place. And that journey must return value to the organization, and it has to take into account all of the people. And so they all go together, but those are the three disciplines that we serve in. When we do these things, we deliver value to you through training, whether that's online. You can buy a seat at one of our online classes. We have those in all of our classes are live. They're live. They're not, well, we have a handful of little webinars, but all of our classes are live classes, except for the handful of pre-recorded webinars that are just very, very short. We call them on demand. So an on-demand webinar is very short. Otherwise, it's live training. So live interactive training. Or we can bring it to you in-person training. We also have coaching where you can connect with us in large or small groups. So that is what we do. And how we do it and why we do it. We also can help you in any way, whether as an individual or a small group or a large group. I do keynote speeches and presentations at conferences. That's how we connect with new people across the country and across the world. So live and in person, where whatever you need, our mission is to help you have a better workday so that together we can co-create better communities. So watch for that coming out, and our new product line of $39 1-hour sessions coming out super soon. Keep an eye out for those. I hope that they will help you. These are tools for you. I hope this one that you just learned about on excellence they remember our excellence. I hope this podcast was useful to you. On behalf of all of us here at Your Clear Next Step, thank you so much for listening, and I hope the rest of your day is even better.
Thank you for tuning in today. The Even Better podcast will be back with more content soon. But in the meantime, subscribe to our podcast or check out our website at yourclearnextstep.com for more information. See you next episode.